Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Creators Convo. My name's Jaden Gaming CCV if you've never met my face before, and I am joined with TheFredders93. Fredders, how are you doing?
Yeah, all good, all good. Hope you're doing well as well, Jaden.
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. It's amazing to have you on here. Guys, before we go ahead and jump straight into this episode, make sure if you haven't already, like, subscribe, go to the beacons, join the Discord, all that beautiful stuff for Creators Convo. If you're a small creator who wants to come on the podcast yourself, then there's a form in the description as well. You know, you already know what you gotta do. Follow the links, all that beautiful stuff, and get yourself here on Creators Convo. We get the best conversation with other creators, and there's no difference today. Today we're joined with Fredders. Fredders, lovely to have you here on Creators Convo. Before we obviously get into the main topics, introduce yourself a bit, tell yourself to the people. Who are you? What started you into content creation? All that beautiful stuff.
Thank you for the great words in the introduction there as well. By the way, Jaden, so as he's explained or introduced me already, I am TheFredders93. I've got my little shirt on there.
Hey!
Shameless plug. Shameless plug. Shameless plug, I know. So my content creation mainly revolves around YouTube and Twitch. The YouTube side of things, it's more sort of like focusing on like the gaming side of things and the occasional bit of football discussion on there as well. Whereas the Twitch, very much a variety streamer, I would say. Personally, mainly shuffling around between Dead by Daylight, Apex Legends, Fortnite. We've done The Walking Dead on the Twitch as
May I
well.
just
Well,
say,
I say that
Walking
we're still
Dead
doing
is
it.
a massive classic, and I love you for it because like Walking Dead, like the video game series, would probably be one of the best story mode ones of all time, for me personally, because of just like the mix of emotions and everything, and just like the twists and turns of it all. I adore it.
But yeah, no spoilers on that because we're still about halfway through season two. We're halfway
Wow.
through season two. I got into those and playing those sort of like sort of like later on in the year last year because I was gifted those as a birthday present from one of my mods last year.
Wow.
But I didn't really sort of like get around to playing the sort of like the first ones until like October, November time because I was still deciding sort of like what I was wanting to do on the streaming front because I'd only started like a couple of months prior to me being gifted that, so I was still working things out. But yeah, I think with that alongside Dead by Daylight, Apex, Fortnite, Cold War, I'm bringing to the channel as well later on this week, actually, I believe, or later on in the month. Um, but we're just definitely just keeping some variety going on the Twitch because I think it's safe to say that variety is definitely the spice of life.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know how many times I've had to speak about this. I don't get how people could sit there and do one game. Now, if I was to do that for a month, I'd go more insane than I already am, to say the least. So, obviously, you started streaming at some point last year. Just tell me, Fred, because obviously this is something that I actually don't know. For the time that I have known you, what actually inspired you to come into content creation?
So, um, for those that sort of like would know me sort of like offline and that sort of thing, know that I am very very into like my performing arts and that sort of thing. I help run a community drama group where I live. I'm involved in a group that does murder mystery evenings. I sing in the choir as well. When that suddenly stopped, sort of like in the first lockdown and something like that, um, the the creative juices in me was starting to bubbling, and it was a bit like, right, where can I sort of like express another form of creative output? And obviously, watching a couple of friends doing YouTube as well, I just thought, okay, let's give this a go, see how it turns out. And that's pretty much just where it all started. And then the idea of Twitch, of starting up on Twitch, I was sort of like put that out to my community, and I was just thinking, like, do we do this? Do I not do this? One of my mods literally jumped into my Instagram DMs and was just like, "Do it, do it, do it," and and as like another place for people to have gone. Certainly, on the day of the day I actually started it. So I actually started on Valentine's Day in 2021, just as like a place sort of like, if anyone, like, it can be a lonely day for some people. February 14th. As
It's just
for
a normal day for me.
bring
I'm
a
not even
nice,
gonna
yeah,
lie. Just a
yeah. I
normal day
thought,
for me. What is
yeah.
love? Who needs that?
I would say something like that for me for the most part. But I just thought, why not bring a place where you can bring people there and just be another person, to sort of like be there for these people as like a distraction as well.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So that was the whole behind sort of like the first day I started streaming, and honestly, I've not looked back.
So
I've
obviously,
met so many great people.
yeah, you see your timeline. So from obviously from the way that you say that you have started out, I've seemed to have known you quite a long path of your streaming path. Um, obviously you know some of the people that I know as well, such as Lee, Rachel, all of them sort of people. Later on down the line, come a month or two later, you join EGC as a trial member, and so this is where you first hear it on stream teams. Just talk to me about that moment. Obviously, you didn't really know much about stream teams at this point.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not sure if it was part of where I was still like new to streaming and everything like that, or what at that point. But I knew absolutely nothing about stream teams and everything like that. That's just me being honest with you, though, Jaden. But Rachel, who you've touched upon earlier, um, I knew of her from like a mutual Discord, and she's been sort of like my go-to person, and sort of like has just been a massive help with me in regards to like the stream teams and that sort of stuff. Like she's been a real massive help.
Yeah.
I owe her a lot for that.
So obviously at this time, Rachel, when you are here, Rachel is in the EGC Guardian. You come to EGC as a trial member, and you get your permanent spot. Just talk to me about that, because obviously, um, you went from trial member, you've gone from a trial member to a confirmed member to then a Guardian, and now then from when I left to then being the co-owner in just the space of matter of months, it definitely must have been a very happy moment for you.
It was, I think it's safe to say that it was very much sort of like a surreal sort of like how things just sort of like gradually sort of like went along and then escalated as they did within that sort of 8 to 9 month time frame. But yeah, it's very much like Rachel introduced introduced me to the team and sort of like then joined after my trial. Um, then circumstances sort of like happened the within the team, and sort of like a guardian opportunity sort of like arose, and I pretty much just jumped at that. Like, I've when
It was
sort of like
obviously
there
at the
was
time when that Guardian spot became available was when Lee left. And obviously Lee left 4 days before my birthday. I mentioned this earlier. Lee left 4 days before my birthday. I was there like thinking, well, thanks for a happy early birthday, Lee. Really do appreciate it. Um, but obviously at this time, Rachel gets moved over to a co-owner. That was Lee's final wish on that. And then you jumped up to Guardians, which was also Lee's final request.
yeah
There, obviously Lee did a lot regarding the EGC podcast. So if you guys knew me then, I was doing a lot of the EGC podcasts. Even before EGC was called EGC, it was used to be called Splash Gang back on Mixer, and we did one or two podcasts on there. So obviously, I mentioned it earlier on Lee's. The reason why I didn't keep Creators Convo such a massive secret is because it was just bound to happen for me to return to this sort of scene. Um, but obviously not relevant to what I'm talking about right now. Um, you then go to EGC co-owner. This comes to the point of when I left in November of last year. Um, Now, obviously, a lot of people will know this already. As to cover this, I left for personal life. Obviously, um, I had to leave for quite a while. I didn't come back until March, and that was just basis of the facts of things I'm not going to talk about because I'm not comfortable with it. Thank you very much. Um, so obviously, you two then take the ownership at this point. How's EGC been um, since since then? Because obviously, I get told a few things. Um, Obviously nothing bad, but obviously, you being the co-owner, how's everything going at the moment with EGC?
So, well, it's funny you should mention that. Actually, the EGC has just completed a rebrand.
A
If
rebrand.
you a rebrand, yes. So we have relaunched.
So, are you under like a new name or like
Yes,
what
we
is
are.
this? What's the new name? What's the new name?
So the new name is called the Coterie.
The Cossery.
So that's COTERIE.
I've never heard of that word in my life. I'm not even gonna
So
lie to you.
so the definition of that word is a small group of people with shared or mutual interests. That's that sort of thing.
Ah, okay.
And so we sort of like went amongst that sort of lines because even though we're sort of like not like the biggest of streamers, if you will, but then I know everyone's got their own different interpretations of big streamer. Um, it's still sort of like a close knit, like united sort of thing, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, it's a smart way to market it, 100%. I mean, I didn't even know the definition of that word, but then at the same time, I'm a person with GCSE English 3. I don't have a single GCSE to my name. I don't know the meaning of a lot of things, so don't take this as a surprise. But obviously, to be honest, yeah, the way they'll look at it is a smart way of branding it, to be fair. So fair play on the name there. Obviously, um, the Twitch channel, obviously, when me and Lee were there, did a lot of the podcast or any of that expected to return. Is any plans at the Costery? Well, I can't even say EGC anymore. If it's
Yeah,
under its new
it's
name, is there
it's
any plans that can be announced on that you can share here at the moment?
yeah. It's gonna feel so weird for you trying to know it as any other name, isn't it? Um,
Definitely, yeah. It is. It will be
um,
weird.
at this current moment in time, there's nothing new to announce on that sort of front just yet, because because all like the rebuild and the relaunch is only 2 weeks old at the
Right, so
point
it is fairly new.
at the point that you and I are recording this. It is still fairly new, and there's if we want to think about that sort of thing, there's still so much to discuss and everything like that.
Yeah. Obviously, with this being one of your main things as well as obviously whole reason why I do drop a lot of questions on it, same way as anyone else puts a form in for Creators Convo. You obviously put your main topics in. So obviously, uh, yeah, I'm struggling to already get used to the new name. I'm not even gonna lie. It took a while for me to first call it as Splash Gang's EGC. But do bear in mind, it was mainly called Splash Gang back on Mixer. It was mainly EGC from when it went forward on Twitch. So it definitely has gone under a new change and everything. Um, and obviously it's glad to see that a lot of the team members are still about and everything. Obviously I'm still cool with everyone. Personally, I'm still cool with everyone since I left. Which, to be honest, if it was about the time, and I wish I didn't, but at the same time, this is one thing that I've always said. I've said it publicly. I would rather have an inactive team member than an inactive owner, because an inactive team member is bad enough. But imagine having an inactive owner of a stream team. it's not a good look on the branding of the team. Hence why I did the decision where it was. And yeah, it may be a heartbreaking one because do bear in mind, Fredders, at this point, I've led the team for around almost 2.5 years. So EGC Kari was or Splash Gang. I could call it either three. Just thinking about it off the top of my head.
Just happily do it.
Yeah.
whatever makes you feel comfortable.
But do bear this in mind. Like, this was a massive part of me 3 months into content creation, and my content creation path turns 3 years old this year. It come the summer, so obviously I spent quite a long time doing a lot of stream team stuff. Obviously you are about to. I think you're close to your 1 year anniversary, or have hit your 1 year anniversary with them now, haven't you? It was sort of around this time last year.
Within the team?
Yeah.
I believe I'm approaching it.
It's either approaching it or you with it. It's one of the two, but it is around that point. And obviously, so I think you're over a year in content creation, as well. We'll speak a bit on your YouTube channel now. Obviously, you were doing YouTube a bit before your Twitch side. So what sort of content were you doing are you doing at this stage? And what sort of content do you decide to relaunch your channel with? So two different questions for you here.
Yeah, I was saying, and the second one is going to be a great one as well, because I've not announced this properly, so this is good. This is a little bit of an exclusive about my channel.
Exclusive for Creators Convo. This is what you love to see, boys.
That question. So with in answer to the first part of the question, I believe it was what sort of content.
Yes. What sort of content are you doing right now?
Right, excellent. So at the moment, it's mainly sort of like focusing around a Newcastle United career mode in FIFA 22.
I forgot you were a Newcastle fan.
Of course, I could remove the green screen. There's that in there, and obviously sort of like put in sort of like odd gaming clips, sort of like here and there. A lot of the montages that have appeared on my TikTok lately.
I've seen them, and may I just say I do enjoy them.
I honestly cannot take all the credit for that. My editor who gets mentioned and tagged in those, Madam Fudge, she deserves so much credit for that, because bearing in mind she's got to sit through my voice for goodness knows how many long it is just to post these clips together. she deserves that. But and there is still the occasional football discussion bit on the channel, but that's sort of been a bit rarer than what I've used to, purely because like a promotion within my work has sort of like led to me sort of having put most of the other aspects of the YouTube bits of it to one side. However, it does lead me to the next bit, the second part of the question, this exclusive for Creators Convo. So in September, I am actually relaunching that channel from a gaming channel to a channel which revolves around my sort of like my first love on most things, really, and sort of like focuses on what I do outside of work, which is cooking.
Fair point.
It becomes a cooking channel.
I mean, you've got to do what best suits for you and everything, so I guess, no one can really argue with it. And obviously, yeah, it will be an exciting time for you because obviously it's a switch of content and everything. And, it's the online world with content creation. You just kind of have to experiment different things and, try some new stuff. Just before we keep continuing with this, by the way, guys, if you want to check out Fredders on everything else, that's Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all that beautiful stuff. All of his links will be in the description. Same to his Discord server, all that stuff. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. I have to mention it at some point during the podcast, all right?
I guess so.
So, yeah, all of his links will be in the description, so make sure you go ahead and check him out. But yeah, obviously you're doing quite obviously from the way it seems quite a bit at the moment regarding the Twitch and YouTube side. Um, you've obviously I don't know how many regarding collaborations and everything you've done either. With me, I've done quite a lot with Leonard and Jack and Lee as of recent. Um, with me, I don't know if it's the same with you, but I find it hard all the time to like stream by myself, like just doing games by myself all the time. I feel like sometimes I need to have mates in there just for the sake of, well, this could just be funnier with mates. Hence why I played a game called Who's Your Daddy on stream, and people were texting the word daddy, Brian text to speech. Now, thank the Lord I didn't have that on the VOD, because I would have gone insane. And Fredders is literally cracking up right now. He's muting himself, so I literally crack up.
All right, I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back.
Kid you not, that is real.
No, God.
But obviously the game is not what people think. But obviously,
Mm-hmm. We just recovered as well.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing with me. Now obviously we speak on the Twitch and YouTube side. Now obviously we covered this in Lee's. You'll obviously see Lee's full episode. Now I'm gonna speak on the Twitch and YouTube side, obviously both on streaming. Now obviously YouTube when Twitch had a massive like issue with bots and everything, you'd be aware of this. Back in September.
The whole bot,
Yeah.
the bots and the hate rates.
Yeah, so obviously
Sort of thing as well.
Yeah, so that was obviously a massive issue. Obviously, it's been around for some time, but it became a massive issue in September 2021. Now, obviously, do bear in mind that when this happens, a lot of like big creators jump ship. Now, I want to I'm asking quite a few people that come on this right now their opinions on this, because it does seem like a heads and tails sort of race at the moment. From the way it seems and the way that I've been told by a few other people, obviously there was a platform called Mixer that I was on. People thought that would rival Twitch at this point. However, Mixer wasn't well established. Now the difference in this situation is that YouTube is very well established, and so is Twitch. So my question to you, Fred, is: could you see YouTube overtaking Twitch as the big dog of the streaming side?
Well, it's an interesting thing to sort of like think about with it, because obviously YouTube has been around like a really like long. Well, I'll say a really long time. It's probably a long time compared to like the other platforms you've got. Up like 2005, 2006, I believe, was the very first upload on the YouTube. In regards to whether or not it would become sort of like the top dog, if you will, in regards to the streaming platform, I think it would very much depend on like who makes the like the steps to go across. It would very much, you'd sort of like want to have like at least a couple of like the big streamers for like a massive variety of like all the different games that are out there, because it'd probably be all well and good sort of like having, say, like a couple of the top streamers from Fortnite or a couple of the top Minecraft streamers, but to probably appeal to everybody and to sort of like appeal to sort of like the whole broad like dynamic that there is for YouTube, it would certainly have to be sort of like a big name, a good couple of big names, if not more, on like each of the games.
Yeah.
So sort of like to make it like even stand a chance.
Yeah, so obviously
For it to be a big dog.
with YouTube, obviously on the mainly on the Call of Duty side, they have the likes of Doctor Disrespect and Tim the Tatman. I think more on the Call of Duty side right now they dominate, but that's kind of my personal opinion on that. And obviously, I said my personal opinion on this is that I don't think YouTube will ever overtake unless Twitch make a like a very massive screw up, which at the same time, with me knowing what Switch is like, I think it's bound to happen at some point. But because the thing is, Switch work very, very weirdly. Very, very weird. Because obviously, there's some bans that remain suspicious to the state. Like, let's say the Doctor Disrespect ban. No one has an idea about that. There were just rumors about that one. There could have been something that happened off stream for the way that they represented Twitch, or when Mixer was about, those offered a massive, millions to go to Mixer, and Switch gave him a new contract. There was just so many rumors about it that people were hearing and all that. So no one really knows. But it's like, even when you get like a ban or some sort of thing from Switch, it kind of remains a bit of a mystery, and they don't really give you like much explanation towards it. At the same time, YouTube isn't really the best itself with that either. Hence, if you get a DMCA strike and someone can just false flag and just take anything that you earn from that video, it's just, for some reason, the big platforms just feel like they don't want to explain themselves, which it would be nice if you could for once, YouTube Twitch. All I'm saying is, boxing match, 2023, I'm calling out YouTube and Twitch, but, um, um, so obviously, you're doing, you're doing very well on Switch. You've done massively consistently, over the time that you've been on there the last year. And on your YouTube channel, you post how often every week? Because you post quite a
Um,
lot. I get a lot of the pings in your
yeah,
Discord.
yeah. So I try and get at least a couple of things out for like a week, sort of like more often than not. Or, but it does sort of pretty much depend on sort of like my timings that I have sort of like outside and work and stuff like that. But I'd say fairly consistently, at least once or twice a week. I know it's been sort of like a little bit more because the montages that I've mentioned earlier, they've been on TikTok. I've put them up on YouTube as well. So obviously those are appearing as sort of like a bit more
Now,
frequently as well.
yeah. Now, when it comes to YouTube content, do you prefer like fresh recording new content or uploading like stuff from your Switch, or do you like just the mix of it?
If I'm gonna be honest, I sort of like focus more on sort of like the fresh content side of things rather than editing and uploading like Twitch streams and that sort of thing. I think it's just probably because it's the whole sitting around for like however many hours it is, trying to like piece together sort of like clips and videos and that, and particularly if there's been like sound alerts or anything like that going off in like the games and that, then it's not like it can make that situation a bit more difficult, which is why I go for more sort of like freshly done like content, sort of like uninterrupted almost, if you will.
Yeah.
Bits for the YouTube.
Yeah. So obviously obviously I'm just asking, obviously, for personal preference and everything on like that. Um, because with both of them, it takes obviously a lot of time regarding if you're going for a VOD. Well, to be fair, if you're doing something like a podcast like we're doing now, you don't really need to worry about that, because then you can just download the full VOD and pretty much just slap that up, can't you? But with a lot of the stuff that you do, yeah. With me, for me to like put a lot of a stream up, it would have to be like some sort of really special stream. And obviously, this is where I'm going to come into one thing I want to ask you as well, regarding both streaming and YouTube side. Obviously, you gave us an exclusive on your YouTube side, but what other massive plans do you think you could have for content creation this year, for yourself?
Yeah. So I am definitely planning at least two charity streams this year. Not one, but two. Um,
You obviously did one last year. It was, I can't remember which one it was for, but I think you raised around £500 for that.
so it was just a little over about 330 I believe it was, but the figure doesn't matter. The cause it went to for me on a personal level was good. It was just great to raise money for the National Autistic Society. Um, Even if that did result in me roasting away in the June heat for,
Oh,
for
I forgot it
about
was
10,
June
12
that you did it.
hours
Oh
in a frog
god.
onesie as well.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about the.
Mhm.
Oh my. Mate, have you got like a picture of that or anything? Like, of you in the frog onesie from that stream?
Um, there is a clip on my Twitch, but if you really want it, I can get you a still from that.
Oh my word, I need to see after the podcast. So you're planning 2 charity events this year. This was obviously one more than you've obviously done one yourself. You've seen other people do it like Lee and everything. You've obviously now done
Yeah.
one yourself. You're now planning 2 this year. For two. Are these going to be 2 different charities then?
This will be for 2 different causes, but the subject matter that they are for is the same. It's a bit like I couldn't decide which one of those two to have gone for, so I'm going with both.
So, all
Just
right.
separate streams though.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you're doing something good for a good cause and everything. So the fact that you're deciding, let's just do 2, but instead of just deciding for the one, it's an even better thing. And obviously, massive props to you on that.
Thank you.
Is there what am I able to ask what the charities are for? Is that something we'll have to find closer to the time?
Now that I knew straight away, sort of like at some point, like which of these I want to do it for. So yeah, I will very happily um say this. So the first one would be obviously I can't give dates or anything like that at this point because that's still something I'm still trying to work out at this point, but I can definitely give you the causes. So the first cause, the way that both of these causes are linked is because I'm sure you can agree with me on this one, Jaden, but I think it's safe to say that certain things from the last couple of years, a certain bug, if you will, has impacted each of ours, or like nearly everybody's mental health
Yeah,
differently
100%. Yeah.
a fair bit. So so with that in mind, the first sort of like cause I'll be fundraising for is the mental health charity Mind. My friend has done one of these like for that charity before, so I know exactly sort of like what like information I can get from them and to be able to share on that cause. And then the second cause, it's more closer to home to me as well because again, it's linked with the same thing as Mind, but this one is a bit more specific for my line of work, which is called the Burnt Chef Project. Now, this is a sort of like a not-for-profit, like social experiment sort of type thing, but they focus on trying to reduce the stigma around mental health in the hospitality
Right.
industry.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a couple of stats sort of like from here, if you don't mind me sharing these out.
Yeah. 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 That's fine. That's fine.
So, and this is sort of like maybe take things into perspective for like some people as well. So, 83% of those that work in the hospitality trade will have at least one mental health like problem or issue or anything like that within their career. 34% of those people feel comfortable talking about it to either their managers or their bosses or anybody in general. And then I came across this as well that 74% of those who work in hospitality have been verbally abused by customers at least once.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, those are some very like interesting high stats because obviously, if to be honest, it's like if I went to go in there, I wouldn't expect it at the same time. It's just like an unpredictable thing that can happen. Um, so yeah, two very good causes there. Which which you're doing, it's amazing. Obviously, I will try and support that as much as I can. And obviously, Creators Convo will support that as well, no matter what when the dates are and everything. You just gotta let me know that. So you got two charity events this year. Obviously, no dates on that. Is there anything else that you may be planning, or anything else that you're trying to bring into your content creation path? Or
Um, Nothing more sort of like immediately jumps to mind just yet. I mean, I'm obviously like off camera focusing on sort of like recipe development towards like the relaunch, um, and slowly, slightly gradually introducing a proper fixed schedule, if you will, towards it as well to sort of like try to help the progression more.
yeah,
Um, but nothing more to announce as of yet.
I mean, to be fair, mate, like honestly, I give you massive, massive props yet again for two charity events in 1 year. This will obviously be an amazing year for you. Obviously, you got the co-ownership as well, the stream team relaunching your YouTube, so it looks a very, very good time for you this year as well as it did for you last year. Um, let's just speak as well on this as well. Obviously, there may be some smaller content creators watching this or anything. So, let's bring a question randomly out of the blue. What piece of advice would you give a smaller content creator right now to grow as a content creator? How you've done it?
Yeah. One thing I would definitely say, sort of like particularly um on the Twitch side of it, and as odd as this is about a sound, there is a reason for this. Be like have practice and everything like that about having conversations with yourself and like talking to yourself for like long periods of time. I know that sounds
You know
weird.
what? To
I
be
know that
fair,
sounds weird.
but that's not the first time I've had someone say that to me. Like,
Right.
I hear it quite a lot, so it's obviously not an odd thing to say because it's like in a way, I've got a T-shirt that says this. You may have seen it when I posted it on Christmas Day, but it was the T-shirt that said, "I'm not talking to myself. I'm live streaming." T-shirt. I'm not even kidding. It's in the wardrobe somewhere, but I'm not gonna get it out right now. But anyway, um, obviously, yeah, that's a massive thing, and obviously, it's not an odd thing to bring up, or to even say as a point, because you have to learn to do it if you have one viewer, 3 viewers, 10 viewers, 100, 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, because when you first start, you are going to have moments sort of like where your chat will go quiet, and that's enough, but that is nothing on you personally, so please do not feel disheartened by that. So like, but once you've got sort of like more into the grips of that, it's a case of maybe they're not like typing in chat because they're listening to you talking about the game and like explaining sort of like what the bits that you're doing in there, and then possibly they're getting ready to bring in like a conversational sort of piece. But I would definitely say get used to talking to yourself and have good practice for talking to yourself, and networking is a good thing and it's sort of like an important step
I think this is like
for
one
it as
day.
well.
The thing is, with the networking one, it's such an obvious one, but you see a lot of people forget about it as well. Because what I seem to know, because I've had it a few times where it's just like, I don't want to like go on this social media app or whatever. So it's like, I don't care if I don't like the like personally for me, I'm not a massive fan of TikTok. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a massive fan of it, mainly because of like the algorithm and everything. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I've met some of just like the best people on there. Like obviously I met Lee and everything before we even came over to Switch because we were part of Mixer. It's like I'll say a few names like Catrin, shout out Catrin, shout out Rodif, shout out fucking Coffee. You know, I've met quite a lot of good people um through TikTok. Um and other social medias as well. Like when I started out on Insta, you know, just start the whole thing, and then obviously, you know, they'll obviously meet other people, but you meet through like I met Equo, Paddy, I met you obviously.
Yeah,
Um, you know, so I've met a lot of good people in you know the time, and obviously you're gonna meet the wrong people as well. Like, and I think that's what scares smaller streamers is the fact is
yeah,
like when I first came into content creation, I was definitely scared of meeting the wrong people. I definitely do think I also got into the wrong group at that time as well because I was just not having a good time either um, with it, and it's kind of a weird thing because obviously luck's just going to be on your side whether you're going to get a good person or just a bad person. But I think it explains a lot as well when they're not really like putting a lot of effort in, is when they're just asking for collaborations, when they're not caring about the other
yeah,
person's community and everything. And I see it a lot. I see it a lot. But at the same time, for me, like if you're wanting to collab with someone, it's got to be someone that you actually like. You've took the time to know them. You respect their content and their community. You're not going out there and mocking it
yeah.
every 5 seconds or whatever.
Like definitely get to know and trust the people, that you do it first, because the ones that I've done collabs and everything like that as well. Like one of my mods, Courtney, and then my friend Steph, and also obviously having met them from like the EGC and one of other two communities as well. The Queen Nat,
Nah,
who,
shout out,
who
nah.
Nat, absolute shout out Nat, how she puts up with me in Cold War and Fortnite lately. I honestly do not know.
Mate, she's had to put up with me using a fart sound on my soundboard. Like, I'm not even kidding. A lot of people have to put up with that, and I'm not apologising for it either. Um, um, it is definitely one of the important ones, networking, and obviously, if you run into the right people, you know, no matter what you do in life, you obviously gotta have the right people around you. You know, I've learned that since I was a very young Jaden Gaming CCV, and
Mm-hmm.
by the year I unfortunately get older, which not fun. Because
Stop trying to make yourself sound old. You're talking to someone who next year turns 30.
all right, I'll stop it now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll stop scaring myself a bit more when the time comes. Um, um, so yeah, it is, you know, a simple advice there for smaller creators. Um, obviously, I'm gonna give him a shout out here as well. If you, and obviously, you know, me and Predators have already spoke about him. If you want good graphics, all that beautiful stuff like you see on the screen here, go to Lee. He is obviously his price is his price for a reason. It's some of the top quality stuff that you're gonna get. Like this stuff just keeps getting better and better. The man is an absolute beast. So all of the graphic designs and everything, every video, all the links regarding our designers will be in the descriptions. I'll get the credits in the Discord and everything. So if you want the best graphics in the game, I advise you go to Lee. Um, so, Fredders, here's a little debate for you. Console Wars. Now,
Oh,
here's a little debate for you because I don't hear a lot on Console Wars anymore. Are console wars like you know the debate on console wars like is Xbox better or PlayStation dying because of the likes of crossplay and everything now in place? Because bear in mind, this wasn't a thing that we saw a lot a few years ago, but now crossplay seems to be hitting a lot of games. It's like the thing on console wars dead and buried now.
I think for those that are like hardcore console players, most probably not. They probably like stick with the consoles because even though sort of like the PC, like the gaming PC world, sort of like has evolved in that as well. even a semi-decent gaming PC setup still costs about 4 or 5 times the amount as what a console does.
Yeah, but then at the same time, that also comes with the graphics card and everything. But at the same time, with this debate, a PC would obviously be more worth it. But regarding the console wise, it's like PS5 and Xbox Series X. Now, I've only played the Series X because I own one. Luckily enough, I got it in time before my Xbox One gave up on its last legs. Because I had the 2014 model until about 2021, so I had it for about 7 years. It was genuinely on its last legs. Personally, for me, it's like they only get like a few exclusives now, but like the way they run and everything, it's all the same. Like obviously the Series X is meant to be more powerful than the PS5 is apparently, but I think with crossplay coming into everything, I think the only reason why people were debating like console wars and everything because one console was getting more exclusives than the other at the time,
Yeah.
and now that hardly seems to be the case because DLC. If you remember like old Call of Duties, let's talk like World at War and all that stuff. You know, COD players, Xbox 360 were getting like map packs and everything, like a bit earlier than PlayStation players were. But most of the games don't even focus on purchase DLCs or anything anymore because they're actually all turning into battle passes that just released at the same time.
Yeah, I would certainly agree that for me, it's sort of the whole thing of like the console wars is not anywhere near as big as what it used to be. Well, certainly not when I was like a teenager age. Anyhow, it always seemed to be sort of like PlayStation versus Xbox. It always seemed to be that you was always one or the other, and then you got laughed at if you even mentioned a Nintendo console. But
yeah, to be fair, that was
I
also true.
definitely, I definitely think it's not what's used to, because I'll be honest, I've jumped between both. Obviously, I start obviously as well as like a. I think I probably started on probably started with like the Super Nintendo system, and then for my own gaming timeline, it's been PS1, PS2. Then we have the Wii in the center of it. Then it's Xbox 360. Then Xbox One. Then I went into the whole PC gaming with the laptop, and then obviously the setup that I have now.
So my timeline would be Nintendo Wii, PSP, PS2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and then PC gaming. I had a really, really bad laptop at one point, but it was just that bad where I'm not even going to count it in the tier list. But, yeah, I would definitely agree the fact that at this point, console wars isn't where it was at. And I definitely think that PC gaming is now probably like the top tier thing. And that I think that plays more of a part in the fact that console wars like doesn't it's not really much of a thing anymore. Like obviously there's still a debate because obviously you might have a few better games on PlayStation or a few better games on Xbox, but I really don't see it like being a big deal anymore like it was like ages ago. So
Yeah,
I just don't think really console wars is like sort of a thing anymore. That's obviously what we say here is personal opinions. Obviously, everyone else, you can put your personal opinions in the comments below. Any comments that we do get on these videos, I will read them. Feedback, all that beautiful stuff. Um, that's kind of my opinion regarding the console wars. Um, Fredders, we've hit that point of the podcast where it's almost time to end. Is there anything else that you would like to add? Anything else you would like to say before we go ahead and end the Creators Convo podcast episode 2?
um, that there's nothing else I can think of that I can mention. Although for some reason my head just now, when you're saying that last point about opinions, I can just imagine sort of when if this ends up on YouTube or wherever it ends up, you just putting a little note at the editing, like a little note in the bottom, just being like the opinions in this podcast are solely those of Jane Gaming TGV and TheFredders93, and they do not necessarily represent those of Creators Convo, its affiliates.
All right,
Blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
all the legal jargon. I don't know
Don't
why, that
don't
just
get
comes to
don't
my
give
head.
me ideas like that, please, because I'll end up writing it as a really bad joke, and I'll probably get cancelled for it. But anyway,
You can get cancelled for anything nowadays.
oh yeah, tell me about. I'm not even going to go into that.
But we're not talking
Yeah,
about
we're
that.
not going that far, boys. But Fred, it's just been lovely to have you on the podcast. We've been recording for around 50 minutes now. So obviously you've had some very amazing things to talk about on here regarding EJC, which is now the Costa Ray YouTube channel, events. We've obviously debated the console wars. So guys, we've had Fredders with us on Creators Convo today. So if you would like to get on Creators Convo, there'll be a form in the description for you to fill out. Obviously, fill out as serious as you can, because if it's a very stupid one, and may I just say, I've had some very, very stupid ones and troll ones. Don't just resist the urge to put anything stupid like that, because I'll just never bring you on here. But also, if you are wanting to come on, fill out a form and everything, also your contact details and stuff like that, so that'll be like Discord and everything, not your phone number, because I'm not going to call you from my 07 number, no chance. But on that note, guys, if you have enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the beautiful stuff you already know. Fredders, thank you for coming on to the podcast. It's been absolutely fantastic to have you on here. And guys, I will see you in the next episode of Creators Convo podcast. So have a good one, and we will see you guys later.